Yeah, it says actually fit page. Fit
No,
width.
sir, that is not, that's okay. What I think you should do is, if you go to view menu, is there a view menu here?
I'm just trying to check that.
Yeah. So if you have a view menu anywhere, then from there you can. Okay, so there are 4 minutes to go for 3:30. So what we
Ma'am,
will
is
do?
it possible that I have some bit of PDF issue here?
Okay.
So quickly mail you this file. Is it possible that you can present it from your end and I can just send next?
Absolutely. Please do, sir. And do mail it to, or I will forward it to my colleagues. So
right.
maybe Nivedita ma'am can also this thing.
Sure, sure.
You
I'll
can
just,
mail it.
yeah, I'll just mail it in 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just an announcement, we'll start this session within 5 minutes.
Sir, can you just stop sharing it if possible?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I just stop sharing. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will be going online within 2 to 3 minutes only. I'm just waiting for your PDF, sir, because you are having issues.
Yeah, I'm just attaching. I'll just do it from my another PC. So I hope we have 2-3 minutes.
So we have 2 minutes, but you take your time. We will start as
Yeah,
soon
sure.
as
I
you
just
send
get my
it.
system ready.
We will start as soon as you send it, sir.
Pallavi ma'am, are we ready to go live as well?
I will be going live, ma'am, but
Okay.
we are just waiting for so getting ready. We are ready to go live, but we will start Facebook live once sir is ready.
Okay. So Pallavi ma'am, keep a check when we go live. I'll start. Dean ma'am is also here. Welcome, Dean ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, we are just waiting for a minute. Sir had shared his PPT, but he is having some issue. So he's mailing. As soon as he mails, we will start. And I will introduce you.
Just loading. Yeah, I've sent it. I've sent it to Shruti ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Kindly check. It will be a PDF.
Yes, sir. You have shared it to Shruti Nigurkar at shruti.nigurkar@mitwpu.
Let me just check. Let me just check. She had sent me one mail. Just forward it. Yeah, it is MIT WPU.
Yes,
Yeah, just a moment. I'll just resend it in case she has not received it.
because I haven't yet received.
Yeah, just a moment. Yeah. It's a 3 MB file, not very big. Just a second.
shruti.nigurkar@mitwpu.edu.
Yeah. It's gone now. Please check.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Let me just have a look. So, sir, are we ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready. Kindly
Okay.
check with ma'am if she has received the PDF.
I have got the PDF, which I have forwarded to my faculty also. So they will be downloading and keeping it ready. We will start if you are ready, because
I'm ready.
I will go live if you tell me so.
Yeah, I'm ready. We can go live. No problem.
So before we go live, I will like to introduce you to our team ma'am, Dr. Anuradha Parashar ma'am. Ma'am, Samir Prabhune is our resource person and extremely experienced person in industry for packaging and printing and color technologies. He has guided internationally. So as you know,
Welcome, Prabhune sir, to MIT WPU School of Fine Arts. We are so happy to have you here. And we are looking forward to your session.
so I am in the process of going live.
Yeah.
And we can begin this session now.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. We can hear you. You can start.
Good afternoon, all. Welcome to the SOFA Talks second session of the series by MIT WPU School of Fine Arts. Today we have our second session, which is going live. And as per MIT WPU's tradition, I request our technical team to play the prayer.
प्रतिपाद्या जय जय स्वसंवेद्या आत्मरूपा देवातुति गणेषु सकलार्थमति प्रकाशु म्हणे निवृत्तिदासु अवधारि बोधि गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
I request Vaishnavi, host of the session, to start the proceedings.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the SOFA Talks series. I'm Vaishnavi Pasarkar from third year BFA Applied Arts, your host for the session. It gives me immense pleasure to begin with the second session of the SOFA Talks. I would like to welcome respected Professor Anuradha Parasar, ma'am, Dean, Faculty of Fine Arts, Media and Journalism, Faculty of Liberal Arts, and Faculty of Law. I would also like to welcome respected Dr. Shruti Negurkar, Head of School of Fine Arts, all faculty members, all student members of MIT World Peace University, as well as the other participants who have joined this event. And finally, it is my pleasure to welcome our esteemed guest and resource person for today's session, Mr. Samir Prabhune, founder and CEO of Advanced Graphics, Digital, Printing and Packaging Solutions, and an expert trainer for print media technology for international competition in Kazan, Russia for 2019. I would like to request everyone to present on the panels to pose for an online photo record. And if you have any questions to ask our guest, you can post them in the question answer box.
So we are going for a photo record. Say cheese, everyone. Thank you so much. We can start further.
Yes. So without further ado, I invite respected Dr. Shruti Negurkar, ma'am, Head of School of Fine Arts, to give a brief about SOFA Talks.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi. Welcome everybody to this second session of SOFA Talks with Mr. Samir Prabhune sir. SOFA Talks is an initiative where we are inviting many eminent resource persons from the field of fine arts and especially from the field of applied arts background. The applied arts programs opens many professional doors. And in this SOFA Talks, the eminent professionals working in the very diverse fields of applied arts, like advertising, UI, UX, animation, illustration, e-learning, space design, website design, social media, typography, calligraphy, photography, graphic design, branding, packaging, and the list is big, will be joining us. All the resource persons that will be coming here on the SOFA Talks will be representing their success stories and offering us their professional expertise in their own specializations. Yesterday, we inaugurated SOFA Talks where Ms. Shobhana Hadap gave her presentation. And today also we will be having another excellent session with Mr. Samir Prabhune. On behalf of MIT World Peace School of Fine Arts, I will like to welcome everybody. MIT World Peace University School of Fine Arts is a young and very dynamic school, presently in its third year. We are offering BFA as well as MFA in applied arts starting from this year. PhD is also on platter within the visual arts domain. Admissions are open for us for all these programs. And this young school is full of vibrant energy. You will see that energy through these SOFA Talks. And we are doing all these initiatives under the leadership of our Dean ma'am, Professor Anuradha Parashar ma'am. We are following MIT World Peace University's unique teaching pedagogy and ensuring overall development of our students. This SOFA Talks is one of the many such initiatives by the school. And before I hand it over back to Vaishnavi, I will like to offer my special thanks to our mentor and guide, Dr. Anuradha Parashar ma'am, for her constant support and guidance, and also to our guest today, Mr. Samir Prabhune, for accepting our invitation and coming here for this session. Now, I will like to hand it over back to Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Shruti ma'am. Now I invite respected Professor Anuradha Parasar, Dean ma'am, Faculty of Fine Arts, Media and Journalism, Faculty of Liberal Arts and Faculty of Law to set the context of the session.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thanks, Dr. Shruti. Very good afternoon to one and all. Respected resource person for today's SOFA talks, Mr. Samir Prabhune, faculty, staff, and my dear students of MIT WPU, Faculty of Liberal Arts, Fine Arts, Media and Journalism, Law, and all the participants. I extend hearty welcome to one and all to SOFA talks of School of Fine Arts at Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, Pune, here at India. And heartfelt warm gratitude and earnest thanks to Mr. Samir Prabhune, who is founder and CEO, Advanced Graphics, Digital Printing and Packaging Solution, Pune, for sparing time to be here with us for this interaction. As pointed that yesterday only, we have inaugurated SOFA Talks. It's a noble initiative by MIT WPU School of Fine Arts. SOFA Talk series are unique interaction series between MIT WPU faculty and students of fine arts and applied arts with eminent members from industry, society, and academia. This is the first episode of talk series, which we have started yesterday, that is on 7th May 2021, and we will be concluding this talk series on 30th June 2021. So yesterday I did share the genesis behind SOFA Talks, MIT WPU School of Fine Arts Talks, which is abbreviated as SOFA Talks, and I will repeat this for information of new participants. SOFA, it stands as full form for MIT WPU School of Fine Arts. And when we were conceptualizing this SOFA Talk series almost 6 months back, at that time, we thought of starting with this talk series, which will be different in format than our present, another very unique and majestic platform, Samvad series. So the format for this will be more interactive format, more directed towards knowing the success stories, the experiences of the resource person, more in the form of interview or interaction and discussion with resource person. So as per our original plan, if it was on stage, physical stage, not here we are in virtual stage, we would have made all panel members as team members to sit on uniquely designed sofa. So that is also one of the School of Fine Arts sofa, and why not to have some artistically designed sofa for SOFA Talks. So I hope now participants understand what is MIT WPU SOFA Talks and why MIT WPU SOFA Talks. So to this great and splendid platform, SOFA Talk series, fine arts, applied arts, faculty from across India, students, staff, parents, and participants from industry, academia, and society at large. They will get a unique opportunity to listen to and interact with many eminent resource persons from fine arts and applied arts area. And since this session is also going live, this will benefit on a continuing basis eternally for all attendees and video viewers as well. So from May 2021 to June 2021, that is in these 2 months time, through SOFA Talk platform, we will be inviting almost 21 or more than 25 resource persons to share their success stories and to present various facets of professional milestones and expertise. So here at MIT WPU Faculty of Liberal Arts, Fine Arts, Media, Journalism and Law, with lots of pride and happiness, we always call this division as FLFMJ. So we have a very versatile FLFMJ Samvad series platform for discussion, deliberation, and for sharing perspective. And we keep organizing, Samvad talks in all disciplines, including technology, to bring varied and new perspective. And SOFA Talks will be a very specialized platform where we will be inviting, resource person from fine arts and applied arts. So this is a very unique platform, and Prabhune sir at School of Fine Arts, of course, we do offer BFA Applied Arts, MFA Applied Arts, we have PhD Visual Arts, but the uniqueness is that these programs, they are designed with inbuilt unique feature, you may say, or salient feature, you may say, yoga, peace courses, and there's a unique MIT WPU pedagogy. So it's not just giving and imparting applied arts. It's the university, the School of Fine Arts, it is going beyond. to ensure that students get holistic and balanced development, and they become future ready professionals. So coming back to topic, I'm happy that Prabhune sir is here to discuss on such a topic which is very significant and of immense importance. And I always invite all our resource person. I want to do that for Prabhune sir also. So I invite you, sir, on behalf of university leadership team to visit MIT WPU campus when things are normal and for in-person interaction with our students. And we would be very happy, our students, all faculty members, to take you to see world largest peace dome, which is also here at Pune campus. And before I conclude, uh, I know that good number of our students, they had already, shared their desire to associate with you for internship. And 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 this is what it is: industry academia partnership and preparing future ready professionals. I can see moderators for today's session all set to start the session. So, and I said before I conclude, I really want to place on record high appreciation for all the faculty and students of fine arts for coming up with this, challenging assignment to organize minimum 2025 SOFA Talk series in 2 months' time. This is something really great, and I appreciate SOFA faculty, Dr. Shruti, Samidha, Nivedita, Nupur, Pallavi, Prachi, and all students for this unique and outstanding, contribution by planning SOFA Talks at MIT School of Fine Arts. And of course, Dr. Shruti needs special mention for facilitating the process so meticulously. So all my dear students, School of Fine Arts student, compliments to all of you for supporting faculty in a smooth organization of SOFA Talk. And I think a big round of applause for everyone for coming up with this, inviting resource person on such important topic, and for all meticulous organization in planning this talk so well. And I think it is high time to start SOFA Talks on nuances of digital printing and packaging by resource person, Mr. Sameer Prabhune, founder and CEO, Advanced Graphics, Digital Printing and Packaging Solution, Pune. Once again, I express gratitude and thanks to Prabhune sir for being here with us today for this interaction with students and faculty at MIT WPU, Faculty of Liberal Arts, Fine Arts, Media and Journalism and Law. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dean ma'am, for your inspiring words. Now join me in welcoming our esteemed guest and resource person for today's session, Mr. Sameer Prabhune, founder and CEO of Advanced Graphics, Digital Printing and Packaging Solutions, Pune. Today, we're honored to have our guest, Mr. Sameer Prabhune, who has a professional experience of 27 years and has been working in the field of education for the past 25 years. In his glorious journey, he has achieved many milestones. A print engineer who worked as consultant to MTech Innovations Private Limited for quality assurance on PAN card production for UTI and Finance Department, Government of India. Consultant to Godrej and Boyce for digital printing and color reproduction for Konica Minolta digital printers. He was nominated as printing expert by Vice Chancellor, University of Pune for consultancy to university on upgrading printing technology. He was selected by Heidelberg AG, Germany for 100% sponsorship program of Teachers Development Program. He learned all the latest techniques and technology from Heidelberg, Germany. He has also represented India for World Skills as expert trainer for print media technology for international competition in Kazan, Russia for 2019. And the milestones will go on. With this introduction, I'm sure all of you are eager to hear from Mr. Sameer Prabhune in the second session of SOFA Talks. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Sameer Prabhune.
Yes, thank you, Vaishnavi, and I sincerely thank Anuradha Madam for such a nice words of the introduction about the SOFA concept. And of course, I'm very closely associated with Shruti Ma'am. Since long, we are also associates in Rotary, and also there are multi connectivities over here. I have been connected with MIT since the very first year MIT design course started in the campus. So I was going there as a faculty for the same course of print and production almost 16 years. Then parallelly, I started coming to the second part, which came up as applied arts, fine arts, Milind Dobele sir is handling. And now this is the third dimension, which I'm again getting connected. So MIT is very much closely associated with me. And I've seen the each and every development going on in MIT since it was just one building and now multiple resources. And I know you work on the Gurukul system. So getting the faculties to the students and those which are experienced and knowledgeable, and I know what they do for getting all these things together. Since we had been discussing, Shruti madam had told me initially also that we'll be having such kind of sessions, but I think she was hoping to have a one-to-one session when we had it in Bharati when she was there. And although it's a digital world, and still I personally feel digital has its own limitations. So one-to-one and practical things, reading on paper and reading on digital is still going to be some different things. Just to talk about a small journey of my experiences in packaging and digital world. When I passed out as an engineer in 1993, at that time, it was, I would say I was a little bit lucky, or I'm still lucky to have seen the very old letterpress technique. So when I was a student in second year of engineering, we had letterpress printing as a practical. So we had to compose the types and do the word composition, do the proofings, and do the letterpress printing. After our batch, I think that technology changed, and then more and more offset printing came into picture. And now offset printing and digital printing are again having a competition. And today the world is totally going digital. Even if we talk about today's situations in the pandemic, there have been a lot of changes, and technology based systems have totally become different now. Earlier, we used to print hundreds of books, thousands of packages, brochures and posters and everything. But today, people require very personalized things. They require very short quantities and what we commonly call as print on demand, which I will be emphasizing when we see the presentation. And today's world has changed. There is no more quantity as such, or we can say that because of the digital field, we are having all the books which are getting converted into electronic formats, business cards, brochures, flyers, everything, advertisements, these are all becoming electronic. So what remains in today's world is a short run printing, which can be only possible by digital printing. And packaging is something which is coming up very largely. In our country, we hardly do any packaging compared to the European and the other worlds. Now we are slowly finding it important to package things. So what remains in the graphic design field and the connectivity for the print production is more on packaging areas, which is a huge field. And there are very few people in the industry who really want to work in this field because it's a little bit complex, but a very interesting field. So in my presentation, what I have prepared, I have not put any words as such. I have not kept any videos as such. I have just kept some reference images, and I will be discussing on each of these images and talking about the conventional and the advanced techniques, what we are having and what is the future of packaging. Of course, I'm not a person who can predict the future, but at least definitely the world is going towards a very different kind of requirements. And even if we talk about pandemic situation, many people unfortunately have lost their jobs. Many businesses have shut down, and there are very small areas where people want to survive. So there are many people who come to me and they say that we want to do something as a new product. We want to develop a spice. We want to develop some food product or some immune booster medicine, and we need a packaging for that. But the limitation for them is they cannot afford very high quality packages or high quantity packages, to be precise. And they have very limited resources. They have limited, you can say, funds for it. And there is the challenge. And but definitely because of the digital technologies, not just print on demand, but we can also provide them on demand packaging. And we have various solutions where we can create prototypes, we can create small quantity packages and suffice the needs of the people which can maintain the standards of the industry. So if somebody, for example, is manufacturing some spices, he is in competition with big giants like Everest and Suhana Masala, for example. So they cannot compromise in the packaging quality and the looks. So we have to give them a solution which is going to put their package equally in front of the brand packages which are there in the industry equally, but with smaller quantities and smaller budgets. I would request Shruti madam, like if she can guide the way we should go ahead, whether you want me to start with the PPT directly or you have some question answers, we can have it at the end.
Sir, what we will do is we will start with your presentation.
Okay.
And as and when the moderators will feel, they will ask questions. Otherwise, at the end, we will take all the questions which are coming on the question answer tab from all the people. So
Sure.
you please continue, sir. We will ask you questions whenever required. So today's moderator is Nivedita ma'am and myself from the staff. So
Okay.
we will ask you questions if required.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Can we fit the slide, like fit to page, the slide? There's some data on the top. Yeah, little bit smaller.
Nivedita ma'am, it needs to go full screen. And can you just stop for a minute sharing? Yeah, I'll do it. Is it okay?
Yeah, this is perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So just tell me where to go.
Yeah, we can go to the first slide actually. All right. So what we see in this slide is there is a little bit comparison between the old, or what we call as not old, but technically we call it as conventional techniques, and what is in the modern world. So just to give a small history of printing. Printing was actually invented by a person who had nothing to do with printing. So his name was Johannes Gutenberg from Germany. And this is almost like 600 to 700 years back in the medieval period. So he was actually a metallurgist, and he saw people struggling with making multiple copies of things. So earlier what people used to do is they used to carve wooden characters on wood, and they used to apply some natural colors onto it and press it against paper. By that time, paper had been invented. But then the demand and the supply was a big issue at that time. So what he found as a solution, he created different characters and he metal casted them using lead. And he created A to Z characters and all the other spaces and everything. And then he started composing them. And then he started the hand press. If anybody of you by chance find a opportunity to visit Germany, and if you can go to the city of Heidelberg. So Heidelberg is famous for its offset printing machines, almost for more than 240 years. So Heidelberg has got its own museum where the first hand press of Gutenberg is still preserved. And the first copy in the world which was printed is the Bible. So they have displayed over there how the Bible was printed. So each and every character was printed by hand, by pressing them, and then the colors were filled by artists manually. At that time, color printing was not evolved. Slowly as printing evolved, and then there were some requirements of more and more copies of prints. Then there was another revolution where a person from US, Alois Senefelder, he invented lithography. So most of the graphic design students know the word lithography. So litho means stone and graphy means image. So they used to use a limestone, and they used to use a crayon of oil to draw some images onto the limestone. And this limestone was then immersed in water. So wherever there was crayon or oil, the water could not go. And then with a roller, they applied ink onto the limestone and paper was pressed against it, and the images were taken, which were known as lithographic presses. Person in India, very well known for his art and print, is Raja Ravi Verma. So he was the first person in India who thought that everybody should have his designs, his paintings in home. So you might not see all other artists' paintings in the walls of our homes, but definitely we see Raja Ravi Verma paintings. So he was the person who had his own lithographic press, a multicolor press, and he used to print all his artworks, and they were sold across India in lakhs of copies. So after offset printing came, then there was evaluation of gravure printing, which is cylinder printing. Just to give you an example of cylinder printing is, if you have seen National Geographic magazine, it is printed by gravure. So if you compare that with any other magazine, you see very high quality of colors, high quality of sharpness and the image resolutions. That is because of the high quality process of cylinder printing. Since we have very limited time, I can't show you the videos and it's a huge ocean of knowledge. But I can just give you the keywords. So after our session, all of you can go to the net and search for gravure printing and cylinder printing, and you can see what are the products. And also we have flexographic printing. So there are almost 16 printing processes. If you just make a list of the printing processes, we differentiate them into conventional printing and the advanced or digital printing. In conventional printing, we have offset printing, we have gravure printing, we have flexographic printing. Flexography is nothing but flexible letterpress. A simple example is your rubber stamp. It's a rubber block which is reverse. You press it against ink and press it on paper, you get a readable image. Just to give you a comparison of quality, Parle G biscuit everybody knows. So it's an economical pack. It is very small cost pack. So the packaging also is cheaper. So it is printed using flexography. So it doesn't have very sharp edges, doesn't have very high quality printing. But the gravure printing, if you compare, you can have the Kurkure packs or the Maggi pouches which you use, or dark fantasy biscuits. So these are printed by gravure printing. So difference between the cost and the quantity is always there when you decide the printing process. Offset printing is the most versatile and the most, you can say, commonly economical process on which almost everything can be printed. Speed, we can have newspapers which are printed almost 1 lakh copies per hour. So you just finish the newspaper printing in almost 2.5 hours in night. And then it is created as a data at 11 o'clock, and 1 o'clock it is dispatched. And then you get the newspaper at your home at 6 o'clock. So life of printing depends on what kind of requirement it is. So what I'm just showing in this slide is, there were 10,000 posters earlier which were being printed. We had 1 lakh book copies which were always printed. So anytime you wanted to print a book, it was minimum 1,000 copies. So what we call as first edition, second edition, third edition. So generally an edition was of 1,000 copies. We would have like small 15,000 food pouches and everything. But now in today's world, things have changed. Nobody prints 10,000 posters. Rather than somebody comes and says, I have got a poster designed and I want to just e-publish it. So when it goes on e-publishing, then I am starving. So there is Kindle. So when Kindle came into picture and the e-books came into picture or web books came into picture, when I was looking at somebody getting a 500 pages book printed from me and a good business, so now somebody goes and buys a Kindle and gets 50 books free onto it, 100 books free onto it. So my job is nothing. I can't do anything. There's no paper, there's no printing, nothing. So this is how the world has changed. Even nowadays, there is a business card which has become digital. So not even a business card is getting printed. People say that I'll just share my business card with you. And when I look at his pocket, that he will take out a business card from his wallet. He just opens up his smartphone, he swipes some files, and I get his brochure, I get his business card. And if there is any updation, he just changes the e-copy and resends it to me. So it's just like what you see on the bottom. There are so many books which were printed earlier, and there is just one book on the top. That is what we call as print on demand or digital printed. So things have become a little bit difficult for the print media. That's what the world feels, but no. Print has evaluated itself and it is moving ahead, and it has got a huge sector of packaging. So everything today which is being manufactured, it may be food, it may be pharmaceuticals, it may be your FMCG products, it may be just a small pencil or a pen, everything is getting packaged. And how do you identify a package? It is only by print. At the end, I'm going to show you some very interesting advancements in printing, which will also involve designing into it. Of course, designing and printing, people will say, what is the relationship of a printer? Why do you need a talk show on printing when the courses, the institute is giving graphic design courses, or there are so many design courses. But I'll tell you, an architect and a civil engineer, they both are wife and husband. Unless and until there is a architectural design, you can't build a building, even if you know how to build it. Similarly, a printer cannot print if there is no design. And a designer can't just keep a design with him unless and until he sees how it is getting printed. So these two are, you can say, two sides of a coin. So whatever gets designed needs to be printed. What is printed is always designed. And of course, it is an art to design, but it is an art to reproduce the original as it is to match, which is a more difficult job. I can probably, an artist can create a Mona Lisa, fine. That's an hats of creativity. But if somebody says, I want 5,000 posters of Mona Lisa, then it is a difficult task to exactly match that smile of Mona Lisa on each and every sheet of paper with same colors, same size, and the quality and crispness and everything. So there are more demands from the print when you design something. So designing actually is the basis of doing the print. And what we try to do in all the courses which we have for print production is we try to bridge the gaps between the graphic design and the print. So what print requires from a graphic design is to be understood, and what graphic design expects from a printer is to be understood. The moment these two things are hand in hand, we can get very fantastic results. Okay, so we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is what we see as a representation of publication and commercial printing. So in this picture, we'll see a lot of brochures, handouts, some folders, some books, some magazines, everything. So these are the products which we can do by various printing methods. So how do we decide which printing method we are using? So as our focus is on digital printing, I can tell you each and every product which was earlier printed on a larger scale can be equally printed and manufactured with digital printing with equal precision. And there are few limitations in digital printing, like size is a little bit, you can say, parameter where we fall short. But there are some printing processes where we can cover up those drawbacks. Colors, of course, yes. When we print in conventional printing processes, we can print using white color. You can use metallic colors or spot colors like Pantone and specialty shades, which is a limitation in most of the digital units. But there is one process where we can actually have 7-color, 8-color printing also in the digital printing, but it is at a cost. So, but it is not impossible. There are some research going on where you can replace the entire offset printing in future or the flexographic printing in future with digital printing. So probably tomorrow we'll have a newspaper which is printing some news and there is some breaking news coming. Instantly you can stop the press and restart printing the new information onto it. So digital printing will provide you a solution where you don't need to print all these products in multiple copies. What is the difference between conventional printing and digital printing? I'll just explain in short. In conventional printing, we require a master to be made. So what is a master? It is a block, it is a cylinder for gravure, or it is a plate for offset, or it is a nylon screen for screen printing, or it is a rubber block for the flexographic printing. So there is a cost involved in manufacturing these initial systems. So what is the benefit? Once I create a cylinder for gravure and I start printing from it, it gives me 50,000 to 2 lakh copies consistently without any loss, without any extra cost into it. So I just invest for the cylinder and then I just get multiple copies. So we always have this problem when new people come to us. They want the quality of a cylinder printing, but at the cost of a small digital print. So it's like buying a Mercedes-Benz in the cost of a Maruti 800. That's what we give as an example. So we have to always compromise a few things over there. Of course, the quality of the cylinder printing cannot be matched with offset printing or by the short run, but it's a cost compromise. I'll give you a small example. If you are having a pouch to be printed, for example, let us take a Kurkure pouch. So that pouch is printed by 5 colors. There is a base color, which is specialty color, and there is a CMYK, which all of you know as a standard image, which is printed on it. So if you take for the cost of a cylinder and you say 25,000 rupees per cylinder cost. So before you have any single pouch in your hand, you are already spending 1.25 lakh rupees as an investment. Of course, when you print, then you have to minimum print 15 to 20,000 pouches because the machine is so fast. By the time you set the colors and you start printing, you have already wasted 5,000 sheets or something. So it's a huge cylinder printing process. So when you print those pouches, of course, the cost of the pouch is 50 paise because of the huge cost in the initial part. But then a new person, let us take an example, is having 25 spices to be designed. So you design 25 packages for him. And then he comes to me and says, sir, I want to make pouches for this. And I want 24 designs and 24 cylinders. And then I want one set for 50 grams. I want one set for 200 grams, one set for 500 grams. So when I tell him that, sir, your cylinder cost is approximately 85 lakh rupees and your total budget should be around 3 to 5 lakh rupees. So what do you think the new person will do? Will either just move away or will shut down his project? So we have to give solutions. And this is how digital printing comes into the advent. So in digital printing, first thing benefit is no requirement of any master. No cylinder cost, no plate cost, nothing. It is instant printing. I just click the machine and it starts. The first print is okay. If you tell me that, sir, I don't like this color, I don't like this font, I want to change it. Okay, I just change it. I again give a click, second print comes out. No master required. But just imagine this doing with an offset job or with a gravure printing job. You can't cancel a cylinder just for one small mistake. So it will be costing you huge. And if you want to change something, you want to change some information, some image, it is not possible. You have to totally scrap the cylinder or the plate and make a new set. The time required for this is also long. In digital printing, that is the advent. You get things instantly. You can get as much quantity you want. You say, I just want 25 packages. I can provide you at the max. Instead of 50 paise per pouch, this package might cost you 5 rupees. But 25 packages into 5 is 125. That's it. Your job is done. So you are not investing huge amounts, but you can cater to the demands of the market. So these are two sectors where you need to study how is the requirement of the client and which process will go into application. So in today's world, we have large quantity availability. We have instant and small quantity also availability. That is the basis of comparing the conventional printing processes and the digital printing processes. Okay, next slide, please. So this is a small, you can say like a blackboard, which is there just to give you a comparison of digital versus offset printing processes. So what I told you is just summarized over here in short. So quantity, quality, turnaround time, and personalization. These are the main keywords in the center, which you can see, which dominate and make you decide which of these processes you should choose for the manufacturing. So we can move on to the next slide. Right. So now when we talk about packagings, we have two types of broad sections in this. One is what we call as a flexible packaging and one which is known as a rigid packaging. So flexible doesn't always mean it is 100% plastic and it is always flexible. We also have containers which are very strong. So just to say plastics and papers, that's the difference, and technically we call it as flexible packaging solutions. So in flexible packaging, what we have is rolls of labels. So whenever you talk about packaging, I'm going to talk in detail when you go ahead in the next slides. But how does it affect over here? So conventionally, what all the products you see over here are actually printed using flexographic process, offset printing process, or by gravure printing process, which are the conventional. Today, because of the demand of such kind of labels and pouches and wrappers and everything in short quantities, we also have digital printing machines which provide the same solutions with a smaller quantity. Of course, cost is always higher when you take small quantities and when you go for digital. But then there are two aspects to look at the cost. One is the total cost of packaging and one is the per piece cost of packaging. So if you say, I want my package or my label costing only 1 rupee, and then if you want to have that at 1 rupee and you need to manufacture 1 lakh labels. So your total budget becomes 1 lakh. But if you say, okay, I'm okay if my label is costing me 5 rupees, but I just want only 1,000 labels. So you are only having a cost of 5,000 compared to the 1 lakh rupees. So there are two aspects to look at when you decide a packaging job, whether you want to go on-demand packaging or whether you want to go for a mass scale packaging. The journey always starts with small scale. And then as you go on and finalizing your quantities and then you become larger on a state level, national level, international level, then definitely the cost of packaging becomes lower and lower and lower because you go for the conventional printing processes. Next, please. This is an example of paper packagings. So paper packaging is always required in each and every product. So when we talk about packaging, there are 3 elements what we talk about. One is a primary packaging, one is a secondary packaging, and one is a tertiary packaging. So what is a primary packaging? It is basically a label or a bottle or a pouch which is directly coming in contact with the product. So that is a primary package. So for example, a toothpaste, the Colgate toothpaste is a primary package inside where we have the paste which is filled. So the printing onto that is standardized. It is general. It's not very high. It's not very low. But when it goes into the carton, that carton is what's selling and not the tube inside. So the carton is more flashy. It is more attractive. It is having more specialty elements and more, you can say, rigidity to hold the product inside. So secondary package and primary package are the most important elements which go to the customer and which show on the shelf. So your designing has to be more focused on the primary and the secondary elements. When you go to the tertiary elements, there we are having multiples of the primary and secondary packages which are kept inside. So this is a combination of primary and secondary, which you're going to see in the next slide. Just before we go ahead, these packages can very well be made by conventional process as well as digital process. Only in digital, we cannot do very big cartons, which is a small limitation as on date today. Next, please. A very big sector, which is pharma. It has got very specialty requirements of graphic design, print, and packaging as a combination. In pharma sectors, nowadays, if you look, each and every aspect of pharma is coming up at a very, you can say, very strong levels. Today, each and every business is closed. What is running is just food and pharma, and everything is ruled by pharma. Everybody, if you search on the net, what you find is COVID vaccines. You're finding remdesivers, and there was some news about people duplicating remdesivers by filling glucose waters and everything. So it is such a important sector, and packaging, without packaging, no pharmaceutical sector can survive. If you see the advertisements, even today, forget human medicines. A very big sector which is nowadays going on is the veterinary sectors. Each one of us have a pet in our home. I either have cats or dogs or birds or anything. And I don't think the dogs and cats understand anything about graphic design or printing or very nice photographs of a Labrador. But the posters are having such a nice picture of a Labrador with a small cat next to it. And they have so many colors and everything, food and everything, a bone which is shipped. So you can see how it goes into the industry. So pharmaceutical sectors, they have a large scope of packaging. There's a huge amount of competition between those sectors in between. And if you look at this picture, you can see there are so many technologies coming together. So if you look at these tablets are actually put in a molded plastic. There is a printed aluminum foil onto it. These two go inside a paper carton. 10 cartons like this go into a wooden carton, and that is how it is shipped. So multiple packaging applications are happening, and each person working in that sector has got a business. So today, when people are saying what to do in the COVID situation, how to do a new business, I can tell you, if you are into graphic design industry, there is huge and tremendous scope for you to develop packages, to develop designs for this pharmaceutical sector, which is one of the biggest sectors in the world. Today, if you go to the share market and if you see, all the shares are down, but the pharmaceutical sector is booming. And paper and packaging paper sectors are booming. If you go to the ITC share, see the ITC company. What is ITC? Actually, it is an Indian tobacco company. So they manufacture their own paper for their own requirement to manufacture the cigarette cartons. But they have such high quality paper and so much of a manufacturing system that they are selling it. And it's the highest cost selling paper today in India. People don't know what is ITC. That's why I told what is ITC. It's a tobacco company, Indian. Okay. So this is one sector which I wanted to tell you where you can focus for primary and secondary packages. Yeah. Next. So this is another very important sector. Of course, you may live on medicines, but you need to live and you need to have food. So why I'm showing you this kind of a slide where there is no label, there is nothing printed onto this. So will you buy such kind of things without any information? Tomorrow, if I just give you a blank water-filled capsule and I tell you, okay, if you are in requirement of emergency of paracetamol or remdesivir, this is it. So will you believe it? No, you will not just take it in hand. What makes it different is the packaging. It makes a difference. It tells you what it is. It gives you some authentic system. Tomorrow, if you go to the market and you buy Coca-Cola and probably it's old packaging, the color has little bit faded, you won't buy that. If that Coca-Cola red becomes little bit orange, you'll say that somebody is duplicating it. So that is what brand color again means important in packaging. So if you look at this vegetables which are packaged, very nicely packaged, but there is no information on it. When it was packed, what is the MRP? What is the weight of it? Under what hygienic conditions it has been grown, whether it is organic, it is inorganic, nothing is mentioned on that. So it is not going to be sold unless and until it is packaged properly. The food which you see on the corner, which is nicely packaged, but no branding onto it. Right hand side, you see the day-to-day things which we buy. There are some French fries packagings, there are some McDonald's containers, there are some food plates, but these are all plain. There's no branding onto it. So that makes it important that you have something printed onto it. You will not expect it's multicolored, but at least a single color printing with some authentic information. If I write your name on paper, it has no value. But the moment it comes as a small print somewhere in the newspaper, you just take a photograph of it and put it across your entire social media. My name was printed. So I think that's what gives you the importance of printing. Okay, next. So this is an actual example. Why I have chosen this picture is, you have so many things in this. One is, it's a perfect combination of paper and plastic packaging. And it is also displaying the product, and it is also having printed product onto it. So you are having a plastic container which is sealing and it is holding the food inside, and it can be kept at you can say -30, -20 degrees Celsius. It has got a paper onto it which tells you what is the product inside, what is the name of the product, what is the brand of the product, and it is making it look attractive. So the job of a package basically is multifold. It is like how our mothers work in the home. They have a multiple job of handling you, also handling the kitchen, also handling the family. So that's how a package works. It has to sell the product, it has to protect the product, and it has to also speak about the product. So multiple facilities are available with this packaging, and you have exploration of different sectors. So whenever you are going to focus, if anybody of you is interested in going for his career ahead, I would suggest you can go into food and pharma packaging, which is the biggest sector. Till human beings live on this earth, they will need food, they'll need medicines, and these are unending requirements. Okay, next. Now, all these packagings, what we discussed, we have to also know how we are connecting it with digital printing. So nowadays, digital printing has gone on a higher level. Just before I go ahead, I would like to give you some information about digital. So even if we are printing today, all these prints have been there as digital for long period. Earlier, we used to use cameras, physical cameras with having a film into it. And who was the inventor of this? Eastman Kodak. Everybody knows this. So Eastman Kodak in US, he invented the photographic film, and then it is known as a history that everywhere Kodak name was there, the photographic films were sold. If you just measure the length of all the movies made till the late 80s in the world, you will know how much film Kodak must have sold. But I would tell you a very interesting and a very, you can say, a shocking information which is there, that Kodak itself had invented the digital camera in the 1980s, but they did not bring it to the market. They did not, you can say, focus on it more because they were thinking of protecting their film business. And what happened is they sold some of their patents to Nikon and Konica. So today you know what the history is. Canon and Nikon, these are the giants in digital photography and in camera manufacturing. And Kodak, 4 years back, it was delisted from the share market in US just because they couldn't keep up with the digital world. So they had invented digital technology, but they did not bring it ahead, and somebody else brought it ahead. So digital technology has made changes to everybody. So today Salman Khan is sitting idle at his home and you're watching his movie on OTT. So that's the digital advent. You don't need to go to the theater. So today theaters are giving you options that, okay, you come with 10 people and we give you a popcorn and you can see the movie wherever you want to sit. Earlier we had to buy tickets in black some years back. So that's the digital technology affecting all of us in this way or that way. But when we are talking over here are the advantages and the plus points of digital technology. So all the things which you see over here, there are some mugs which are printed. There are some pens which are printed. There are some t-shirts which are printed. There are some photographs which are digitally printed. So everything today is personalized. So that's the biggest advantage of digital printing, that you can personalize the thing. Since I am printing every copy as an individual and I don't need to make a master out of it, I can always personalize digital printing. So every mug you buy in the market is personalized. You can have your photograph printed on the mug, which was a dream few years back. You can have a dish, you can have a t-shirt, you can have a pillow. And when I'm going to go ahead, then I'm going to tell you what is the advantage of digital printing in the other sectors of the industry, which is also there. I think most of you must have used these things. Yes. So this is the slide which I have kept after the personalized printing. This is a new technique which has come in the market. There are two methodologies in this. One is using inkjet printing technology to print on any kind of cloth, any kind of fabric you want. So if any of your textile designing or your fabric fashion design students are attending the session, this is something which also adds to you from printing technology. You can print your own design and make clothes of your own design, not take whatever is available and then design. Okay, so you can first design and then print it and then make clothes out of it. So this is by inkjet process. Another process is by thermal transfers. So you'll have some designs created on paper, and those paper prints will be transferred using heat onto the fabrications, and they will be permanent prints. So this is a new technique which is coming up. Of course, the cost right now is a little bit high, but it will come down when the applications go on increasing. And this is a very new application method. Okay, next. So another advantage of digital printing, which I always like the most, is the variable data printing. So what is variable data printing? You can print, as you see, there is an invitation card over here. And that invitation card is having the same two pictures, and there are two same pictures, but the names are different. So again, you can always print invitations which are personalized. So for example, when you get nowadays letters from your banks, or you get your mobile phone bills, or if you get an electricity bill which comes to your home, it is totally printed. But this is a combination of conventional printing and digital printing. Few years back, people used to be afraid, like conventional printers were afraid that when I'm starting my press, I have a competition of a digital printing press starting next to me, so he will take away all my business. But no, it's a very simple thing. If I want to go a long distance, I naturally travel by bus. But if I just want to go to a short distance, I go by a bicycle. So a bicycle can never replace a bus and bus cannot replace a bicycle. Same way, large quantity printing cannot replace small quantity and small quantity cannot replace large. So there is a combination of both. Like for example, your mobile bills which come or the electricity invoices which come to your home, these are all printed on offset. And then using digital printing technology, we only print the variable data of your consumption. That's why your names are printed on the invoice. As you see over here, the Sarah and the Jane name is printed, but the design is the same. And as you see on the left-hand side, there is a small label printer. So this label printer actually can print you 100 different labels at the same speed of a conventional label printer, but all the 100 labels can have a different data onto it. Okay, so as you see these bottles over here, so if you are making a presentation to a distillery and you are designing some wine bottle labels, so it is not possible for you to print each and every label using the flexography or the offset process and then make labels and get approvals, because probably they will not approve any of these and they will need a fifth design again. So using such kind of label printers, which are also used for commercial printing, you can always get the products which are same as the final product, but it will be variable data printing. Okay, next. Now this is an add-on. Now these are some processes which we use as add-ons on packaging or any printed products. Why I am focusing on packaging? Because these special effects are more used on packaging rather than commercial printing products. So if you see on the top left, there is a champagne label, and that U and N and the wings which are shown, probably they are embossed and they are also having a golden foiling. If you see the Oscars on the right hand side, it is a metallic golden foiling which is shining and it is raised on the base image. If you see this paracetamol, it is a golden colored embossed image, or if you can see the label which is the hair care. So now these are all made using metallic blocks, and these metallic blocks are to be embossed and pressed with some foils using the conventional letterpress printings. Now this will be only done for large quantity printing, is what was the scenario till a couple of years back. But today there is an advantage of technology. We can create all these effects even on a single copy using the digital technology. That's why this slide is here. So when I'm creating a prototype, let us say there's a pharma company who is wanting to launch its new product like this, Idisprine, and they say that we want to see how the product looks as it is going to be in the final stages. Because I cannot explain foiling, I cannot show him is sorry aisa golden dikhega. He wants to actually feel that, and then only you can do it. But getting this printed and probably you will print this, but getting a block made and the foiling made will cost you something around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees, and probably if they don't approve it, it's a waste of money. So in digital printing technology today, we can actually print foils using digital techniques. So we don't have that much time, and otherwise I would have shown you how we do it. We have that facility in-house. So we can do the packages, we can do prototypes of such kind of cartons with foilings of different colors. We can do embossing of different colors and get one copy approved. The benefit of creating prototypes of the same look alike before it is print is it gives the 100% idea to the customer how the product is going to look, and he may confirm your order instantly, rather than he may take time to convince people how that is going to look like some other package which is having golden foil. Okay, so this is an add-on which we can always have. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So color reproduction is one sector. Of course, I can talk for 4 hours or 8 days on color subject. It is that vast, difficult subject to discuss, and very interestingly, but I'll just touch it up in 2-3 slides actually. So color reproduction is the world's biggest challenge. It was there, it is going to be there. But today with the digital technology and with the advent of a lot of systems, we can reproduce colors almost similar. So why is color so important? Why can't a parrot green, sorry for the conventional words, why can't a parrot green look like a sea green? Okay, what happens if I print a Coca-Cola red as orange? Is it Coca-Cola? Yes, it is Coca-Cola. Is it the same font? Yeah, it is the same font, but then it is not Coca-Cola. That's the thing, is what all these graphic designers, visualizers, and branding ambassadors, they bombard it on your eyes. That some superstar, he drinks a thumbs up with the red color in his hand, and that's why it is red, and that red is registered in your brain. And that what makes the difference. So if you're drinking fruity for so many years, if you are being eating Maggie for so many years, so there are generations now who are growing up on Maggie, okay? But the same yellow colored Maggie is there. They have not changed the color. The moment they change the color, I'll tell you Maggie will not be in the market. So that yellow color has to be printed again and again and again, the same yellow, not just in Pune, but in Maharashtra, but in India, in across the globe. Probably if they start up something on the moon, they will have to print the same yellow. So that's the brand yellow, which has to be printed as it is. So how do you print that brand yellow? So we have to have consistent color reproduction. So how do you have consistent reproduction is, we have some instruments like this, what we call as spectrophotometers. So they will measure the colors and convert them into three-dimensional colors. And then we can measure the before and after colors, and then bridge the gap between those before and after colors. So that will help you actually to monitor the color systems. So this system is known as color management or color reproduction systems. Next slide, please. So this is what we call as a 3D color rendering and management system. I know this is very complex. I'm trying to explain you a 3-hour movie in 1 minute, but we have to do that. So this is an RGB color model over here. And these are all the colors which we can see with our eyes. And there are very limited colors which we can print. And these are the colors which actually our brain shows. Our brain is very, very efficient in showing us colors. Our brain is so efficient that it can analyze colors even better than a spectrophotometer. I can tell you when we talk about resolutions. So we talk about 1 megapixel, 100 megapixels, 70 megapixels. But let me tell you, your eyes are more than 1 lakh megapixels resolution. And our brain has some sectors which are having sensors in the lenses of our eyes, which can capture light, analyze that light into red, green, and blue, and again combine them into combinations. So God is fantastic. So if you try to do it yourself, it's very difficult. So why we don't rely on human eyes? Because I might have a defect in my eyes. There is sometimes you call it as color deficiency. So okay, probably I and Shruti madam see the same red color apple, but probably the red for her is a yellowish red. For me, it is a magenta red. But still, it is red for both of us. But when we want to be sure that everybody sees the same red, then this is a system which comes into picture, which is what we call as a color management system. So here what we do is, we simply measure the color of the red apple using the spectrophotometer, and the apple color is of course red, but it's a specialty red. So we don't know what kind of red it is. So how we can know the red? It will be based on this lightness value of the red. It will be on the A value of the red, that is the red part of it, and the saturation of the red. So it will be somewhere here. So it's a 3-dimensional red which we see, a particular red. And then when I'm printing, I will try to reproduce the colors going as close as the same color of the original using some system what we call as profiling. So profiling is a totally different subject where the computer will analyze the input RGB and analyze what is the output RGB. To give you a very simple example, to make it very simple, to understand what is color management and how is color reproduced. So it generally happens that we take a photograph with our camera. So that is RGB. Light which is there in the nature is RGB. So naturally what we see is RGB, what we capture is RGB. Now at the moment I see at download, because we are very eager to see, Are dikho mera photo kaisa hai? So we see that on the screen. On the screen, it looks a little bit different. Then you transfer it on your laptop because you want to edit, right? So you want to look more younger. So you want to edit your photograph. So when you open that photograph on your screen, it probably looks yellowish. And then when you print it, it becomes reddish. So what is this? This is nothing but the limitation of that particular device, either to capture, to display, or to give an output of the system. So common example to compare with, I can give you this analogy for better understanding. I hope all of you drink tea or coffee, right? Nothing wrong in drinking tea or coffee at any time. So many of the students, they always drink coffee when they're working late. I still like that. So whenever I am at home, now for 1.5 years, everybody is at home. So there is a particular coffee your mom is brewing up for you, and it is being bombarded as a taste in your brain. The moment I think July, August, you will start going to MIT, go through, and then you will go to the canteen in a break and you will have the coffee. The first sip you take, and there is a reaction in your mind, because what happens is your brain starts comparing. That's the worst thing what our brain starts. It works on its own. So it starts comparing the coffee and directly it gives you an output. Is coffee mein maza nahi hai. So what is that maza in the coffee? Simple. We go to the ingredients, hue, saturation, lightness, sugar, milk, and coffee. Simple. Nothing else is different at home. Nothing is different there in the canteen. So what is the difference? Here it is mother at home and there is the chef at the canteen. But of course, I would say these are all independent systems. Coffee, sugar, milk. What is the combination? So your brain, you will another take 2-3 sips and then your brain will get samples of the coffee in your brain. And then your brain will analyze that coffee. So what will be an analysis of the coffee? You will say that, "Hey, bhaiya, isme sugar kam hai, isme coffee bahut zyada hai, isme milk bahut kam hai." Okay, this is what your brain will give you as a on an average system. So he'll say, "Okay, I'll make new coffee for you." So as he starts making coffee, you will dictate him the recipe. You'll tell him, add little bit sugar, so and so half cup of sugar. Please add a little bit 2 spoonful of milk. The moment he does that, and then you take the sip, you said, yes, abhi ye ghar ke jaisi coffee lagni hai. So what was there? The same ingredients were there, the same process was there, and the same person who is drinking was there. So definitely when we compare this system, we use this evaluation system with our camera and the screen and the printer. What we need to do is, they are all correct at their own places. We need to analyze what is the problem with the RGB from my printer. Or if my printer is printing the CMYK, which color it is not printing properly? It is printing red excess, right? So my software will analyze that red color. It will measure that red color. It will say, okay, it is 3.5% red coming extra for every print. So it creates a program where every printout is reduced as minus 3.5 red. And every time you fire a print from your system, you'll get the perfect red. So this is, in short, what I could explain to you as a color management system. I can take an entire session of 2 days hands-on and tell you, and then it is easy to understand. But if you analyze analogy of the coffee and this, I think it will be easy for you to compare. Next, please. Yes. So what I explained you as a complex system, it is explained in a graphic representation over here. So this is an ICC. Okay, ICC is not Indian Cricket Council. They cannot do anything in colors. It is International Color Consortium, which is having members like Kodak, Nikon, you can say color manufacturers, ink manufacturers, and all the people who are related with ink and colors and display systems. So even Kodak is member, Canon is member, your Konica Minolta is member. So how we work? This is the system what we work. This is RGB input. So this is your camera input. So camera input is going through this profile system, which we create to analyze the color. And this is a PDF which will connect it and it will show that color on the screen. So what it is doing here simply is whatever the color configuration of this screen is having, say, more yellow or more green, it is getting compensated over here so that what you see is what you get. And when we convert this RGB to CMYK, it is converting it according to the printer which we have. So wherever that printer is having some deficiency of a color, that will be compensated by this ICC system and this PDFX. So we have Acrobat Professional used for this, Adobe Acrobat Professional. And when you just convert your artwork and say publish to PDF or convert to PDF and send it to your client for approval, it is not the right way to do it because it will randomly show any colors. So your client will be shouting from there, I told you to make this apple and it is looking like an orange. And from your end, no sir, it's an apple, you are looking it as an orange. So to minimize this issue, if you use this PDF system, it will carry the correct profile of your system, and you can see apple as an apple, orange as an orange on the screen. Okay, that's in a nutshell what I can tell you about color over here. Okay, next slide, please. So again, coming back to the advents of digital printing. So the moment you have your digital printing proper, you have colors very nice, and you can apply your color systems into digital printing. Then, as you see, this is a prototype making. This also I can show you if anybody of you are interested. You can visit my press at Curve Road. We have a system and a software and a hardware where we can create one single prototype like this of a packaging, which will be helpful to make your final carton look correct. Because if you don't prepare a prototype, probably you won't know whether your text is coming exactly on the same place, whether the colors which you are reproducing are coming exactly as the way, whether the paper which you are using is able to hold the product or not, whether it is having the same strength, whether the looks are there. So your client always wants to see this final product. And getting this done by conventional is not impossible, it is very costly and it is time taking. So digitally we can do this, and that is what is packaging prototype. Next. Now we are at the ending part of our presentation, but I would like to take you to a section which is very known to less people in the world, even in printing technology, is we have printing technology has now shifted to a higher level where we call it as printed electronics. So what picture you are seeing, so you would say, what's the connectivity of a shoe with printing? Of course, we print on shoes, but right now this shoe is doing something else. If you see at the palm, near the palm of the person, there is a small electronic circuit which is inside the shoe. So this is a specialty shoe, or this is a smart shoe, we can say that. And this electronic circuit which is there inside is totally printed using conductive inks and insulating inks. So we use metallic powders, silver or carbon or copper, and these are printed as tracks, and they also can work as you can say electrons and protons and circuits moving around. And a person who will use this in his shoes, when he is going to jog or he is going to walk, this will be recording how much pressure is coming and how his body responses are giving. And when you take out this shoe and you connect it to a computer, he will tell you how many kilometers he walked, what was his blood pressure, what was his pulse rate, what was his speed, and did he walk or did he run. All these things can be analyzed using this printed electronics. So we can print using the conventional printing processes like offset, screen, gravure, and flexo. Only thing is the ink is different. We have conductive inks, and this is a totally new world where you can also come into picture as designers, and you can have n number of applications. A very common example I can give you is nowadays we are having all the switchboards and everything which are protruding from our walls. So if I tell you to switch on a fan or tube, it's a big switch which you have to press. So when you go to printed electronics, there are wallpapers which you can design. On the backside of the wallpapers, the circuits are printed. And these circuits will be having a front panel which is also printed. And you have to just touch the panel and your switch will activate. So we are having such kind of manufacturing facility in Pune itself. So they manufacture such kind of printed electronic products, and they're applying it to various systems like this. Next, please. So how are these applications of smart packaging coming into picture? If you see this banana packaging over here, and there is a small chip which is over there. So what that chip is doing with the package, it will tell you what is the life of this banana, whether it has been naturally grown or it has been artificially made yellow, how long it has been there in the package, whether it has been damaged, what are the nutritional values, what are the conditions of atmosphere it has gone through. All these things this package will tell you once you connect it to your computer. So it is itself a smart package. And there are some packages which I have shown over here with different marks onto it. As you can see left hand side, there is a barcode. So this barcode will be used for knowing when this package was delivered and what is the content inside. If you go to this QR code which is there on the package, you just scan it and it will tell you what is the application of this package, what it contains, what are the technical specifications, who is the manufacturer, everything that QR code will tell on your smartphone. If you look at this third sign on the right corner, it is showing you the temperature systems. So it will tell you whether that food inside is at the proper level of temperature, or whether it has already, before opening, you can actually know whether the food is in good condition or it is stale or it has surpassed its temperature limits. And the top one which you see is an RFID, radio frequency identification tag. Best example of this RFID, each one of you are now connected to printed electronics, that is the FASTag. So what is FASTag? It is nothing but a printed label without which you cannot go across your cities. Okay, so it is a printed tag which is a coil inside, and it has got a chip and it is transmitting a signal. The moment you will pass through a toll booth, the toll booth will read your RFID signal and it will deduct that much amount from your electronic wallet. So that is how printing system is in connection with you. Okay, and before you summarize, let me tell you one thing, that today without printing, you cannot survive. Without packaging, you cannot survive, because everyone is fighting and living only for one thing, that is money. So money is printed, if you know, and the wallet which you have in your pocket, it also has some smart cards which are printed, and it has got some chips which are also printed. So printing is actually there in each and every part of your life. And now it is equally there in this packaging sector. And combining the knowledge of digital printing and package printing, you can have an excellent career. Okay, I think we'll be at the last slide now after this. Yes. So I'm thankful for all of you to listen to my words. I have tried to summarize a few things which I know through my experience. I'm still a learner. We learn every time a new job is there. We are learning, we are making mistakes and again learning from it. Okay. Thank you.
So truly, I must say this is the best presentation that we could have had. On behalf of MIT WPU School of Fine Arts, I must say that, it is not only our students, but through this Facebook Live, it is so many aspiring students, so many, graduates also, anybody who is into design, they are going to benefit tremendously through this presentation, which you have generously, presented for us. And it's amazing session that we are going to treasure and look again and again into. So I am going to definitely go to the next part where we have many questions for you. But I had to say this before we go to the question answers, that we are truly, enriched today and delighted for this entire presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my pleasure to share whatever is learned, because sharing and learning is important.
And I know that you have so much more in your treasure, and we are definitely keen on getting it with various associations that
always
we
there,
love
always
to
there for students.
Time.
Always there for students.
But for now, I'm going to request the student moderator Anusha Adurkar to take this forward and let us have a look at the questions. And we know that we have, little exceeding the time, but I'm going to request you to answer them in short as much as possible.
Sure, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Anusha.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So we have a couple of questions in the question answer box. So there's a question like, what is the approach to decide the design and the material for packaging while we are doing it? So.
Okay, what is the approach to decide the material?
Design and material for packaging.
And material for packaging. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I'll go to the design and then I'll go to the material. So when we talk about the design, you have to focus on who is your target audience and who is going to be using that product. For example, if there is a small kid, or if there is a young boy or a girl, or if there is an old person who is going to use it, as per that, the colors can be chosen, the graphics can be chosen accordingly. And depending on what is the product type, if it is a very, you can say, fancy item. So whenever you're looking about packaging, we have to look at it through two aspects, whether the packaging is a necessity or the packaging is a luxury. So if a packaging is a necessity, designing is, I think, not very important, but when it is a competitive product, yes, design makes a difference. But even if I need it as a necessity, for example, if I need a toothbrush, tomorrow morning I need to brush my teeth, I will just go to the shop and I will ask him, what is there a toothbrush? But if I'm just going to buy another toothbrush just as a fancy thing, then I will look for the designs. So that is how you decide who is the target audience for you. If you're having a small kid for a toothbrush, you will have a cartoon printed onto that, but you will not have it on the brush for a, you can say, medical brush, which is required. When you come to material which is to be chosen, then you have to look at what is the condition at which the product is going to be kept, whether it is going to travel through so many things, whether the product inside is fragile or not. So if it is just a plastic bottle and you have to put it in a box, then you can just take a paper board. But if it is going to have a glass container, for example, the current example we can talk is about a paracetamol injection or a remdesivir capsule. So that glass capsule has to be with a label. It has to be in a paper carton, and then it has to be on a, you can say, hardboard carton, because it is going to be stored at minus 20 degrees Celsius or minus 10 degrees Celsius. So the working conditions, the handling conditions, the traveling path, and the product inside, whether it is fragile or not, it totally depends on how you select the material for the packaging. And there are several guidelines also online available where you can see that.
Okay. So we have another question, like what is the basic difference between the photospectrometer and the densitometer?
Oh, good question. A densitometer, I think the person who is asking this is slightly from a printing background, or he has somebody who is using the densitometer. So basically, I tell you what is density. I hope it doesn't extend long. Density is basically the ink film thickness. So when we are printing colors on paper, we measure the amount of ink which is being printed on the paper using a densitometer. So meter means measurement. So when I measure the thickness of a film or a color, it is densitometry. And when I'm measuring actual color, it is spectrometry, because spectral colors are actual colors which we can measure as a spectral value. But densitometers are values which are not having any colors. Okay, they will only measure through a filter. But a spectrophotometer will directly measure the color. And if I keep it on anything, even if I put it on my skin, it will give me an analysis of the RGB or LAB component of my skin color. That is the difference between spectrophotometer and a densitometer. Densitometer is restricted only for ink film thickness measurement, but spectrophotometer can do that also. It can measure colors, it can measure the printed colors, it can measure the spectral colors from the atmosphere also. That is the difference.
Okay. So one more question, like can you share your experience about the PAN card printing which you had done?
Okay. It was long, it's almost like 25 years back when we did it.
Yeah.
At that time, PAN cards were being introduced in India. And in Pune, there was a firm who was printing the PAN cards. So they had an issue that when they used to print those PAN cards, they were printed on paper. And they had a lamination to be done on the front and the back side. And then the die cutting of the corners was done. So when they were printing that, before printing and after printing, there was a color difference coming out. So after lamination, the colors were coming dull and they were not coming proper. So what we did as an analysis, how much color is getting differentiated before and after, and that much amount of color we told him to add in the printing process. So after lamination, it came up to a visible level layer which could be accepted. And there were other parameters, but this was one of the major parameters why they were being rejected. And later on, then they were accepted by the government.
Okay. So we have one more question. Like as a designer, we are always asked to provide the Pantone value by the printers. Like
Yes.
as per the knowledge, it also helps to reproduce the same color across the printers and the geographies. So does this guarantee that the colors won't change? And also, are there any new methods evolved as of now which are more accurate than the Pantone shades?
Okay, very good question. Basically, what is Pantone? Pantone is a US company. So I'll give you the background why we require Pantone. So let us take an example of the ship matchbox. I hope everybody knows a ship matchbox. Okay. So they have a red color, a black color, and a yellow color, which has been printed on the ship matchbox. So now I want to have this red color consistently printed for each and every box across the country. So red, as we talk in printing, is made up of yellow and magenta combination. So when I'm printing, I am trying to match the ink layer and the of magenta and yellow, one above the other. And since it is a manual system, or it is even if it is an automated system, there are limitations, there are conditions where the colors can change. So what Pantone color is, just to give an example, rather than trying to match yellow and magenta color label on the machine, I will mix yellow and magenta together and just print it as a single color. So that combination is fixed. So that red color will not vary when I'm printing a 100% value of the red. Otherwise, I am in a chance of printing 95% yellow, 100% magenta, or probably 95% magenta, 100% yellow. So to avoid that, we make this special color shade and we call it as a spot color. But what Pantone has done, Pantone is an international company who has formulated thousands of shades, and they have a ready reckoner sheet which is given. So whenever you want to have a particular color as a brand color, you can choose from that Pantone shade, and it has got its own color code. Like for example, Pantone C4580. So C means for coated paper and U means for uncoated paper. So when you take C, it is C4580 means that shade. When you ask worldwide, they will have the same formula to make that ink. But yes, every time you cannot afford to print Pantone color sheets, because if you design a job and it is of a 7 color, the printing cost will go very high, and then it will go beyond the budget of a particular client. So what we can do is we can actually have a ink matching system where, using the spectrophotometer again, we can mix the particular amount of color of CMY to 99% match the shade of Pantone. So how do you find the difference between the two shades? Is by using the spectrophotometer. So if you don't have a Pantone color shade, you can always use it. But if you are working for a very big brand and you are trying to standardize colors, yes, for particular brand systems, you can use those colors as brand colors. For example, if Sofa Talks is the name of, as a brand, then the orange color and the blue color of that sofa, these can be Pantone color shades, and you can ask for these colors worldwide. You'll get the same shade across the globe as it is.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we are done with the question and answer session right now. So I'd like to invite the student moderator, Vaishnavi Pasarkar, to take over the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Anusha. It was indeed a great honor to listen to you, sir. I would like to thank you for the enriching session. And I would also like to thank respected Professor Anuradha Parasar, Dean, Faculty of Fine Arts, Media and Journalism, Faculty of Liberal Arts and Faculty of Law. I would like to thank respected Dr. Shruti Negudkar, Head of School of Fine Arts, all the faculty members and all the participants for joining in. To conclude the session, I would like to request our technical team to play the Pasayatan.
So, sir, this is our tradition. We will be playing Pasayatan before we end this session.
Ata Vishwatmake Deve Yene Vagyatni Toshave Toshoni Mazajave Pasayadana Je Kharanti Vyankati Sando तया सत्कर्मी रतिवाढो भूता परस्परे पडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरिताचे तिमिरजो विश्वस्वधर्म सूर्ये तरुण से आ रहा, चेतना चिंतामणि से गाव, बोलते जे अर्णव पीयूषाचे, चंद्र में जे अलांछन, मार्तंड देता बहीण, ते सर्वाही सदा सज्जन, सोय रे हो तू, किंबहुना सर्व सुखी, पूर्ण होनिसिही लोकी, भजिजो आदि पुरुषी अखंडित, आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये, दृष्टादृष्ट विजये हो आवे येथ म्हणे श्री विश्वेश्वराव, हा होईल दान पसाव, येणे वरे ज्ञान देवो, सुखिया झाला.
I will like to thank Samir sir once again for doing this amazing session. And for all the viewers, I would like to say that this session is live on Facebook. So you can have a reference to this, because I know that, there is so much being told and so much information is there that students will love to go back again and again to the session and maybe, have a look at it, maybe re-listen to it. So I'm inviting anybody who wants to have a look, go to the SOFA official FB page, and there you will find this entire session recorded, and you can visit it again and again, and you can have a look at this. Also, I can see that there are many more questions coming in. Since we don't have time, we are not going to do them now. But if you have those questions still, then you can put them as comments on the Facebook page, and we will try to get them answered from sir as and when, time permits. So this is a invitation for you to put your questions there. So thank you so much. Samir sir, once again, thanks.
Thank you very much.
We will be closing this session now.